Hey everybody, this is Perch, and ever since James Tynion announced he was walking away from exclusive DC contract, once again, I feel like I have to keep saying this over and over because people keep misreporting it. He will still do work for DC. James Tynion's got his nice house on the lake. Now, granted, it's taking a 5 month hiatus. It's taking a saga hiatus of somewhere between 5 months and forever. That's a joke. After issue 6 of The Nice House on the Hill. But he said that he will likely do more DC work. He's not shutting the door. Now, if James Tynion goes out there and he, does this big kind of tell-all expose of, of his time at DC and 5G and everything else, if he's not careful with what he does there, he may find himself not welcome back at DC. But I mean, DC at this point, I don't think is going to shove anyone out the door. At least not at that level. They'll save that for kind of the lower names that nobody cares about. But anyway, so Tynion is still, in theory, has a connection to DC. But yes, he did leave Batman, and he's wrapping up all of his things with Fear State, and then we get Shadow of the Bat, where Bruce Wayne is just gone, and you're from Gotham, and he's doing something else. So who's been the replacement? There's been a lot of speculation about what this would be, and we now have a name. It's Joshua Williamson. So Joshua Williamson, whose stock is rising fast at DC, largely because he's the one who's still there. That's unfair. Josh Williamson is a great writer. I'm not throwing shade at him. I am also saying though that DC's options are becoming limited. So Josh Williamson will be taking over the flagship comic title Batman. He is going to start a new storyline called Abyss, drawn by Jorge Molina. So Molina will be the artist on this book. He is hyping that the oval is back, referring to the yellow oval version of the Batman emblem that recently appeared in Batman Detective Comics. And so we have a new storyline. Now, what we don't know is how long he's going to be on the book, but it's indefinite. Williams said, "We're honoring the plan the other books in the Batline are doing while telling a brand new story for Bruce Wayne as Batman in the DCU." So this answers a couple questions. He, in theory, is leaving Gotham, but the book is still going to be about Bruce Wayne. So it's not like Bruce Wayne is going to be missing in the book. It's still going to be Bruce Wayne. He will be facing a new villain because that's the fashionable thing to do. You come on Batman, you immediately create a bunch of new characters, and then you hope that they get adapted into a movie and you get a royalty check. I mean, you're helping build out the universe. I'm sorry, it's a little bit too cynical for a Wednesday morning. Anyway, the new villain is called Abyss, and Abyss is the name of the storyline. And if you're looking at the screen right now, you can get a little picture. It looks like kind of a mix between a kind of a skeleton-y character. He's got kind of a King in Black look. Also, he's fallen victim to Miles Morales' baggy pants there. But anyway, this is a kind of a skeletal looking. He's got a scythe kind of that he's running around with. But that's what we get. The initial storyline is going to be a 2-part storyline. I think it's actually kind of hard to tell. Maybe more. No, it's got to be more. This press release is written absolutely terrible. Anyway, Molina is very excited as well. His art. Jorge Molina is a great artist, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with Batman. The final page, the cliffhanger in Batman 118, which will be the first issue that Williamson's on, is supposed to be shockingly fun. So that's a little. Some of the teases are really stupid in comics, and others are very, benign. I just say the last page is shockingly fun. I mean, that's not giving you much, but in fairness, that's a much better tease than some of the other marketing approaches we've got, like everybody's going to hate this issue. Like that's terrible. Or I'm looking forward to seeing everybody pissed on Twitter. That's also terrible. Saying, hey, the cliffhanger page on this comic is fun and you should check it out. Okay, that checks out. Good for you. Anyway, Williamson, as they note, has already become the de facto lead writer at DC, doing, of course, Infinite Frontier and other things. This is speculation on my part, but it feels like Williamson was not. I don't think any of this was planned. I don't believe that Williamson was going to take over on 118. I do think that there was a scramble after Tynion left, and I think they reached out and they grabbed the top guy in the company right now, and they put him on the top comic in the company right now, and that's That's basically what we got. So Williamson is stretched thin now. He's got Robin that he's also writing, and hopefully this means that Batman and Robin, and we get some more kind of crossover, because I think the chemistry between Bruce Wayne and Damian is usually pretty good. He's writing Deathstroke Inc. He's writing Infinite Frontier. He's writing Future State Gotham. He's writing Justice League Incarnate. And he's writing The Silver Coin on his own time, and apparently more, because they're building up to the next big Crisis event, and which is expected to be helmed by Williamson in the early part of next year. So he's busy. Where's Christos Gage? Do we need to bring him in here to help out? Anyway, so this is, they are going to slow down the release schedule of Batman. Thank God. Batman has been shipping every other week for a while during Tynion's run, which made zero effing sense. And certainly when Tynion was announced to be leaving, you'd think they would slow it down just to give them more lead time to, get a new writer on and get plans set up. But nope, twice a month. I mean, it's the number one comic in sales for them, so it makes sense. But it is going back to monthly. And if you're thinking to yourself, damn it, now I'm going to miss some Batman stories. Well, just to console you a little bit, there will be 48 other Batman comics in December, so you'll be okay. There will be other comics. It will work out. So anyway, Josh Williamson, he gets on the title here in December, and we will start to see the layout of what the DC universe is going to look like, kind of going forward. There's a lot of, as I've said before, there's a lot of balls in the air. So we have a heavy reliance on Batman. In theory, we have Scott Snyder floating around out there, who does say he'll be back at some point to kind of jump into this. We've slowly seen Chip Zdarsky kind of increase his presence over at DC. We know that they're building to a big Crisis event at the beginning of the year, or sometime at some point to play out in 2022. We've got multiple different timelines and stories of Superman kind of happening all at once that are going on. So that's a thing. We've got kind of a half step toward a bunch of legacy characters where they're doing things with Aquaman and with Yara Flor and everything else. But it feels like the legacy character efforts are, I don't know. It's hard to say they're committed to it. Yara Flor is a fascinating thing to watch. And if you just, we're in August. If you go back to January, there was legitimate big excitement for Yara Flor as a character. And now she's rarely talked about as something. So did they give up on that? What's going on? We have, of course, Green Lantern entering its second arc, so we get to see kind of the fallout of everything that's happening there. So there's just a lot of pieces moving. DC said at the, kind of jumping into Future State and Infinite Frontier and some of these other things, that it was that they were basically going to try and remove some of the shackles of continuity, that they were going to try and push that writers could tell their own stories and didn't need to be obsessed with how they all fit together, and try and allow for more creativity without kind of this overburdening control that sometimes was a complaint with Dan Didio. So it seems like they've done that, or they've been doing this, and now we've got a bunch of random things going on. We also have, of course, this Webtoons deal that's coming out from DC, and at some point they're going to have to pull it all together. And it felt like the architect to pull it out together is our new writer for Batman, Josh Williamson, who, of course, had a great Flash run and everything else. Felt like he was the one who's going to try and pull it back together for the end of the year next year. But doing all of these things, that's a heavy burden. I mean, it's just he's got a lot going on. So I'm curious how this all works out. I do. This is going to sound negative, but this is almost a classic setup for tipping over a writer. Now, Josh Williamson, again, I like him. He's a good guy. Had good conversations with Williamson. I think he's talented, understands his history, understands what customers want. So I have nothing but positive things to say about him. I am curious to see how this all rolls out, because he is now carrying a very heavy weight for DC. And there's not a lot of people around him that are, helping. So I hope they don't tip him over, because that would be a real shame to take a guy who I think has, many years of pretty amazing stories in him that he could roll out. But there you go. Josh Williamson, your new writer for Batman. Is this good news? Bad news? You like it? Don't like it? What do you think? Is this a good switch over for Tynion? What's your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for listening.